Now I'm just going to run you through the terminal tackle which I use. So the terminal tackle's the last bit, the end tackle. Maybe the most important tackle, but it all is important because it all has to be balanced and it all works together. So if you're using strong rods and strong braid, you need strong terminal tackle because ultimately you could potentially lose fish, and you're using that strong tackle for a reason, because of the weed beds, because you are using strong tackle, you don't want to snap up. So we start with the trace. Here, as you can see, it's about between 12 and 18 inches, and that's 40 pound. Okay, so it's 18 kilogram, and that's the Fox Predator wire. I use it, I've got the 49 strand on there. They do it in 26 pound like that one. I've got 40 pounds. Bit more finesse maybe with the lighter. When you notice snags, fishing for potentially bigger fish, up to the 40. I tend to use 40 for an awful lot of my fishing just because I know I've got that extra strength. It's pretty kink resistant as well. Whenever you cut this 49 strand, it's very, very, very important to actually get a lighter and you light it until you just see it change colour and it goes red. That's where you cut it. If you don't cut it there and you just try and cut it anywhere, it will fray. That's not a design fault or anything like that. That's how it actually works. And what it does is it concretes it where you light it, and it makes a nice clean cut, which then enables you to be able to thread on the crimp. That's really important. I crimp it. You got your crimps. It already comes with a little box of crimps. The wire does. And then it's just a simple case of looping it through in between the teeth, and a nice steady firm. You can squeeze as hard as you can, you won't cut through, you won't break it, but what you need to do afterwards is test it very carefully and give it a really nice pull. But do be careful and always leave just under a centimetre maybe, just to allow for that margin of slippage in the worst scenario. If you cut it off too close, it could slip and go. At least you've got a little bit of give there if it did, under extreme pressure, need to slip slightly. The next one, I wrap round like a hair knot, wrap it round and then loop it through the top of the eye, and then with that I just put a little treble cover on the top as well, and then that just stops it from unraveling and keeps it really, really, really tight. And then up to there I come up to a trace cover. Again, it's crimped to the swivel, to one of our diamond swivels underneath there, and then that just pushes over, and what that does is that kicks it away a little bit. As it comes down, it does push it out and kick it away rather than letting it drop. It will kick it away, and it just keeps it a bit tidier as well, and keeps it more in line. And then we go on to a swivel. When you get to the swivel, I use these are great. Okay, these are quick link change swivels, and what they've got there, they've got a little slip on there, and you get the swivel eye, and on one of these you loop it around, and you can in a second just loop it and take it off. However, it won't come off when you're doing normal fishing, so it will stay in there, but for when you get a fish in the net, you can just quickly undo it, put your rod down, put the lead down which is connected, and I think you've just got the fish which has got the trace on, and you can carry it up to your mat. Otherwise you've got to carry the rod, you've got to carry everything. It'd be very cumbersome, and also you could potentially trip and all those other hazards. So quickly undo that, leave the rod safely, look after the fish, take it to where your mat is. So they're really, really good. I've started using those a few years ago. They're great. And then I would go onto run rings, and you need minimal resistance really. So what we do is we sell these in selection packs. I mean, here you've got the buffer beads, and then you've got a little run ring there, put a little quick link on there that would run up your main line, run down to a buffer bead so it buffers up against the buffer bead to stop it hitting into your knot. And to that I use heavy leads. So here, I mean, this one here is 4 1/4, and this one here 6 ounce. That might sound like a really, really, really heavy lead. I've got heavy gear. Most of the time I'm using 4s. I happen to have 6s in the box due to the fact that bad weather conditions, I need to anchor it down. So what I do is I keep it anchored with a heavy lead, because when I get a take, I want the lead to stay in position and I want the drop off indicator to drop, and then the fish can take that freely without knowing there's any resistance. And that is an anchor, it's staying there as an anchor. I've got heavy gear, I've got heavy rods, so the rod can easily cope with leads of this sort of size. And then what I do, it's not what everyone does, but what I personally do is I actually put an up trace on, because I quite often put out chopped fish and chopped pellet and things like this. And when I do, I use this fluorocarbon here. It's £60, it's really, really thick, but I use it so that up and down there on the run ring runs my lead, and it just means it protects in case a pike was to brush its teeth against it, pick up any chopped fish anywhere near it, or anything like that. It gives me a lot more protection than braid would, because braid can be very, very delicate. So that's pretty much my terminal setup, and that's what I use.